one of the things that happened, and I don't know if you guys heard about this, and we might touch on it here tonight during the Gears cast. Um, Rod Fergusson, who was the studio head at the Coalition before he left to go to Activision Blizzard to create a number of Diablo games. He just recently stepped away from Diablo. And there's a number of people who have been bringing up the question of, will Rod Fergusson return back to Gears of War? And I'm going to tell you guys, I really don't want Rod Fergusson to come back to Gears of War. And it's not because I think he's a terrible like game director, developer, whatever you want to call it. I think there were some things that Rod Fergusson did really well within like when, being at the Coalition. I thought Gears of War 4 was awesome. I thought it was a great, overall, I really enjoyed Gears of War 4. It was like, okay, this is a good like step in the right direction. But, we got Gears 5. And although Gears 5 wasn't terrible, like I wouldn't say that it was, no Gears of War title to me is, I always look at Gears as, one of my favorite games of all time. And so I would say the weakest of them was certainly Gears of War Judgment. I believe that was the worst Gears of War title ever made. But I thought that Gears 5, of the Coalition era, Gears 5 was the weakest. Even though I did enjoy some of the multiplayer components, there were certain things I liked about it, but overall, as an experience, it was certainly probably the weakest of the Coalition era Gears of War titles. Rod Fergusson, though, leaving Diablo, leaving, Blizzard, I don't want him to come back to Gears because although he had mentioned that there was going to be a Gears 6, a Gears 7, Gears of War movie, he had greenlit all these different things. And he tends to do this. He did this to the Diablo community as well. He kind of mentions that, oh, we've got Gears 6, we got Gears 7, we got, Gears of War movie. He was mentioning that there was going to be, you're not going to have to wait as long for Diablo games after Diablo 4. We're going to have expansions and then the next Diablo and whatever. So, and then he leaves, right? He did this with Gears. Now he's doing it over at Blizzard. And I got to tell you, man, his mindset of the semi-open world scenario that we saw in Gears 5, I could just tell that his mindset was open world Gears of War titles. And I did not like it at all. And look, I think that it was cool that they tried it. Semi-open world look in Gears 5. They tried it. I don't want them to do it again. That's it. I think that Gears of War was built on a linear, dark, gritty story where if you have an open world Gears of War title, it's almost got to be a full-blown spin-off or something. It kind of like Gears of War Judgment. I feel like Gears of War Judgment, if you would have tried like an semi-open world or open world game within Judgment, it's like, okay, well, it's after Gears of War 3, I still think it would have been a major step in the wrong direction from Gears of War 3, one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. And then you come out with Gears of War Judgment. It was just like this major step in the wrong direction, in my opinion, for the franchise. But Bethesda is a part of Microsoft, and he said he was done with them, so I don't think he's coming back. I agree. I don't think so either. Because, he had mentioned that he was kind of stepping away from Blizzard and Microsoft, which would allude to the idea that he's not going to be coming back to Xbox or, Blizzard. The thing is that I feel like Rod, even though like I love that we got the rejuvenation of Gears of War, when you talk about from Ultimate Edition to Gears of War 4, Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Gears Pop, he did greenlight all these different, all these different things. And then he said, okay, the future is, you know, Gear 6, Gear 7, Gears of War movie. He tries to kind of set it up where it's going to be, he tries to set up the franchise for success, but then he leaves. And look, I'm not saying that he was like here for one title and then left. I'm not saying that the direction was awful, but I don't think it was Gears. Like, we need what the coalition's doing right now is what we need. We need Gears to go back to the dark, gritty, like horror elements, gritty action, narrative story. Yes, going back to Marcus and Dom, like I'll tell you guys this. I believe that Gears of War E-Day, and I've stated it a lot, is going to be the biggest Gears of all time. I do believe that. Here's where I get concerned though with Gears. It's not even so much E-Day, because I think E-Day is going to slam. I think it's going to be incredible. My concern is the future following E-Day, like where they go with Gears of War following E-Day. Do you do a sequel to E-Day? Because you can only use, I feel, Marcus and Dom so much. And it makes a lot of sense the way that they're doing it right now, because you're going, you're opening this up to PlayStation. So like a lot of people on PlayStation who've never played Gears, now they get to see the backstory of Marcus and Dom, and then they can go right into playing. Obviously, they'll be playing Gears Reloaded here shortly. It's Gears of War Reloaded month. Like we are very close to Gears of War Reloaded, which is awesome. But where I get concerned about the future of Gears is after E-Day, because are you going to go from Gears of War E-Day? You're bringing all of these. Obviously, the Xbox community were bought in, right? We're like, okay, Gears of War E-Day's coming. We're along for the ride. Let's go. And then PlayStation, you get them bought in with Gears of War Reloaded and then Gears of War E-Day. But then where do you go from there? Will Gears of War E-Day just be the next 10 years of Gears? Like, they're going to be consistently adding new content to Gears of War E-Day? Are they... I don't know. Like, I would love to be able to say, yeah, Gears of War E-Day is going to be the Gears of the next decade. That would be awesome. But I just don't know if Gears is going to be that. I feel like Gears and Halo are very similar, where it's almost like, they have a roadmap, and then once that roadmap ends, they move on to the next game, right? And so that's where I think we kind of are with even E-Day. As great as I believe it'll be, I still think that we're going to get another Gears after that. And the question is if you release another Gears of War title after E-Day, would it be a sequel to E-Day? Would it be a Gears of War like Pendulum Wars title? Or are you going to go all the way to Gear 6 after just finishing E-Day, which is set before Gears of War 1? And so that's where you start confusing the fan base. And I'm saying the new fan base coming in from PlayStation. I think that the more than likely what's going to happen is you have Gears of War E-Day that comes out after Reloaded. Gears of War E-Day comes out in 2026. And then a number of years later, you get that Marcus Phoenix collection, or you get a Gears of War 2 Reloaded, Gears of War 3 Reloaded as like full-blown remasters. And then the next Gears comes after that. And it's almost like I'm wondering if they're going to do like a soft reboot of Gears of War 4 or something. Like, I just don't like, I guess bottom line is this, guys. I don't know if you go from Gears of War E-Day, or I should say Gears of War Reloaded. So you're talking Gears of War 1, going back prequel before that to Gears of War E-Day, PlayStation's been introduced now to Gears. And then the next Gears after E-Day is Gears 6. So now you're going way into the future. All these PlayStation players are going to be like, wait, what? So it's almost like you've got to do E-Day, Gears of War 2 Reloaded, Gears of War 3 Reloaded, and then, I mean, maybe a sequel to, or I should say, like, I wouldn't even say like a spin-off, but with Gears of War 4, like do a remaster. I like, I don't even know. And then lead up to Gears 6. I don't know. Part of me is kind of that's where, if you were to ask me, a zero, what are you most concerned about when it comes to Gears of War? My biggest concern is that, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I am so, like, guys, this channel is a Gears of War channel. So at the end of the day, I'm just excited that we're getting Gears of War stuff. You know, Gears of War Reloaded, we're going all in. Gears of War E-Day, all in. And we're going to be, and that kind of leads me to this, I'm going to be streaming Gears of War Reloaded a lot for you guys, coming out with a lot of content on the YouTube channel in relation to Gears of War. Promise you that. We've got a lot that I am planning for the channel when it comes to Gears of War Reloaded, leading us into E-Day. And then E-Day, I mean, we're going all in, guys, when it comes to E-Day. And I'm hoping that Gears Esports returns. Go all in on esports and all of that stuff. I want Gears to be back, but I want us as a community to try to create a sustainable ecosystem. And of course, the coalition. And that's part of the reason why I'm like worried about the marketing and stuff. Cause it's like, dude, are people seeing this? Like, do people remember that Gears of War Reloaded is coming in like, you know, less than 2 weeks?